So today we're going to be taking a look at the gaming light strip G1 from Govee. Hello folks and welcome back again. So today we're going to cover these RGB strip lights for the back of your monitor. I'm going to go over how to set it up, the functions of the app, the functions of the PC app, installation, thoughts on it, and stick around to the end because I actually came across an issue with this and it's a bit of a mental issue, and I've actually got to the bottom of it yesterday and I'm delighted because it actually worked flawless now, but I'll explain later, so stick around for that. But first things first, as always, a quick unboxing. So we've got the box, details in the front of the Govee Gaming Light Strip G1, and this is for the 27 to 34 inch monitors. 60 LEDs per metre on the side here. Around the other side we've got a little description of the colour synchronisation via the Govee desktop. Then in the back here we've got a Govee QR code for installing the app. Some safety details, and then down the bottom here we've got the items that should be in the box. And just get the knife out and open this up. The first thing we've got is a little kind of greeting book from Govee. Some of their social media details and where to go for the apps and so on. At the back here again, the QR code from the App Store, Google Play Store. We've got a little booklet here basically describing the function of the Dream View, and it shows you a couple of other little products that you can get inside that also has the Dream View function. Here we've got a user manual. Shouldn't be much to it, just showing you how to basically attach them to the back of your monitor, how to hook up the app and so on, which I'll show you anyway. Here is the actual reel itself with the lights wrapped around it. Underneath we've got a little hidden compartment, and we'll see what's in there. First thing we've got is a power plug. Obviously the UK version, it's a 3-pin plug at one end with a power connection, and that is 1.5 metres long, if that helps, if you need to know that. Back to the lights. At the end of the light here we've got a little control unit. Some plastic film over it, just protecting it, kind of nice glossy finish to it. And the length of this cable is 1.2 metres as well. Top button is a power button, middle button is basically cycles through your colours, and the bottom button adjusts your brightness, and it also turns the music mode on as well because it's got a built-in mic. Just a case is once you've got them connected to the monitor, plug it in here and power them up. So again, that's 1.2 metres from the end of that cable to the first LED on the strip. On the back you can see some tape for mounting it to the side of your desk or on a wall or something like that, wherever you fancy mounting it. And the actual light strips themselves are really good looking because they've got that black backing on it. Makes them a lot more discreet than some of the ugly white ones you get, but just feels nice quality with the Govee sign in there as well. So it should be much more discreet. On the back we've got 3M tape for sticking it onto the monitor. Here we've got some alcohol pads as well, just for cleaning, bit of prep work before you stick them on, make sure it's nice and clean. And then we've also got these additional little sticky on clips for holding down the cables, do a bit of cable management. Plenty of them provided as well, which is good. And that's everything that's in the box. And as you see, there wasn't a great deal inside the box, and now what I'll do is show you a quick installation video of how these lights are set up in the back of the monitor. Just to remind you, this is for the 27 to 34 inch monitors. There's obviously one for smaller size monitors as well, but yeah, just pay attention that this is for the larger size monitor. Also should point out as well that my monitor is actually 40 inch, and I was a little bit worried about how these would fit on the monitor. Got to say, they actually fit great. And later on you'll see from the effects that they actually work a treat. So if you get anything bigger than if you get anything bigger than a 34 inch monitor, maybe up to 40 inch, these will still work a treat for you. So I'll show you how they're set up. So that's me got them all stuck down in an anti-clockwise direction. For sizes, they're 300 long on the short side, and then on the top side they're 600 long. Just thought I'd share that with you. Just make sure it's all clean before you stick these down. In the booklet it shows you to set them up in an anti-clockwise direction, but you don't really need to worry about that. You can adjust that in the app, and we'll show you that later on. There's also these little clips that they provide in the box for a bit of cable management. Just holds these cables down nice and tidy as well, keeps everything nice and clean. Pretty simple, 5 or 10 minute job, and there's plenty of these as well in case you ever decide to change them later on or move things about. So installation with a dawdle, maybe about 10 minutes max by the time you get the monitor off the mount or off your wall or whatever. Just make sure the back of it's clean so that these stick on well and they don't come off. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is the app. Obviously you can download the app for these Govee lights from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Get it installed, make sure your lights are turned on, and when you first power the lights on, turn the app on, you should actually see on this screen here, which I'm sharing, just above where it says Gaming Light Strip G1 and DreamView T1 just now, it should automatically detect that you've got the lights set up, well not set up but they're on anyway. Make sure you've got your Bluetooth on, because I think it initially connects through Bluetooth. So to the right of that there's a button for clicking to add it to this app. If for some reason that box isn't there, what you then can do is just press the little plus sign up the top right hand corner up here. Brings you into all the different Govee devices you can add to be controlled by the Govee app. So if you just hit the search bar, in fact there's an example of what I was talking about. My son, he's got these Govee panels, wall panels downstairs, even though he's using them on his app. You can actually see that my app is picking up his Govee device, so I could add it up there, but I'm not going to do that. But what we're looking for is the H6609, and there should only be one inch in there, and that's it there. So you just click on that. You will then be prompted by a second screen asking you to put in your Wi-Fi details. Go ahead and do that, and then you'll then be another screen should then come up after that, asking you to give the power button on the cable built into these lights a quick press just to complete the pairing. And as once that's done, you should then see your Gaming Light Strip G1 here under your devices. Now I'm not going to cover all of this because I've got to be honest, you're only going to buy these lights for the purpose of mimicking your screen. Otherwise you would just go and buy an even cheaper set of LED lights and put it on the back if all you're looking for is just you setting the colours to suit your decor, your room or whatever. You're going to buy these because you want the screen mimic. So I'll briefly take you through the app. You've obviously got all the home button down the bottom. You've got all these explore buttons where people have kind of done custom made lighting setups. There's loads and loads of stuff here, and like I say, I'm not going to bore you with it. The Govee store for additional Govee products if you want to do that, and then your user details, your profile. And I've got a big line just popped in at the back. That's the Sawman. He's probably going to end up jumping up on this desk in a minute, pain in the arse it is. So in here, yeah, you've got one thing I would say is pretty important, that's a firmware update. It's a good idea is once you've got it up and running to click a firmware update to make sure that the lights are up to date. There's not really anything else in there that's you really need to know about. So back to home, and this is the more important thing. So this is the two things I've currently got in my Govee app. DreamView T1 is the same kind of idea, an ambilight thing down the stairs from a TV with a little camera, but we are more interested in a Gaming Light Strip G1. So you can go in there and you're greeted by the usual bog standard kind of Govee lighting effects. You've got colour effects, and here you can see the light strips that's around your monitor, and you can set all of those individually. You can set them all in a one go. At the moment I've got kind of a red in the middle and then white on the outsides, as you can see. You've got a timer button up here as well. You've also got a brightness button for adjusting the brightness of your lights. Scene button is all the kind of preset standard, like there's hundreds of these. Some of them look cool, and then some of them I'm just wondering how does that reflect what you're actually showing it's meant to do, you know, like the colour scheme. It's a bit weird, but anyway, I'm not going to go on about that. There's loads and loads and loads you can pick from. You can have it where it's sensitive to music. There's a little mic built into the controller and the cable. It'll flash away when the music's playing. DIY, finger sketch, you name it, there's all sorts of stuff. In this button here, we've got timer, we've got an effects lab, and then there's like autoplay and stuff like that. Again, I'm not going to go into it, but you can get the idea that you can set kind of schedules and scenarios to automatically run throughout the day. Just for talk's sake, the lights coming on at 7 in the morning, you got up for work, when you come home, they come on again, but a different colour, all sorts of things you can muck about within there. Up the top right hand corner there's a little cogwheel, gets you into the device settings themselves. You can change the name of the device anytime you want, if you want to find it a bit easier. There's a layout, the control page, don't really need to bother with that. Calibration, connection ports. Forgot to say, when you originally set these lights up, it will ask you in what direction you've got the lights set up. Obviously the booklet itself within the box tells you what way to do it. It was basically, if I remember right, anti-clockwise when you're looking at the back of the monitor. If for any reason you put them on the wrong way around, you don't need to worry. You can actually go in and click one of these and it will change it around to the way you want it to be, but you'll see that as part of the setup process. Totally forgot about that bit and I apologise, but yeah, you'll see that at some stage of the setup and you just select what lights are lit up when yours is hooked up. Wi-Fi settings we've already covered. User guides for hooking it up to Alexa, Google Assistant, Razer Chroma and so on if you want that thing. Now this is an important bit of this. If you want to use the desktop app, which I'm going to show you in a minute, this is all controlled over Wi-Fi or LAN, as they're calling it this. You must ensure that that LAN control button is switched on, or else the Govee desktop app will not work, or the DreamView side of it won't work anyway, so make sure that that's ticked on. You can see the firmware version, hardware version, you name it, it's all in there. And I don't know if there's anything else to cover in this app. Nah, not really, but if you've used Govee products before, you'll be very familiar with this. But the more important thing is you want to know how to use a DreamView, and we'll jump over to the desktop app and we'll show you how. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go and get the actual Govee desktop app set up for your PC. So it's just a case of googling Govee desktop app and you should pop up in this website you can see on the screen just now. Click on download, let it download the file, hit the execute file and just let it install. Pretty simple, not a lot to it. So after that, you should then, when you get everything installed, you should then have a screen like this, and this kind of reflects the devices list you'd seen on the mobile app. Again, the lights downstairs in the TV and the gaming strip are both shown. First thing I'm going to show you down the bottom though is the settings here. If you go into the settings, it will show you the version of the app. Just make sure the app's up to date. Some general settings in here. If you want to automatically start the app when the computer starts, you can tick this box on here. Starts up the system tray, so on, all the usual kind of things you get when anytime you install apps. CPU performance settings. You may have a kind of low end budget PC and you might find that when you're running this app it's affecting the performance of your PC, so you can mess about with this and click on the moderate or low, but I've got a pretty decent PC so don't need to worry about that. I can leave that ticked on best. Display settings. Now another important thing, you may have a multi-monitor setup. I've got three. I've got the two main monitors I sit in front of, which are these two, and then I've got a little, like a system monitor thing that's inside my case and it shows as a third monitor over here. So basically whatever you want to be your main monitor and what you want the lights to reflect or mimic, make sure you've got that monitor selected, and for me it's the big ultra wide that I've got. API, don't need to worry about that. Temperature settings all depends on where in the world you are, Fahrenheit or Celsius. About us, usual contact details. Tap to run, we kind of covered that. You can set up macros if you want to call that, so it's like one button and it does one instruction to turn on all the Govee lights and set it to colour and blah 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 blah. as I say, if you've used Govee before, you'll understand all this stuff. Group control list, we're not really bothered about. And again, I keep harping on, but we are only really interested in these lights, and that's for the dream view function. So at the moment the lights are on, brightness is set at 100%. You can go in. Sorry, I'm just going to turn the dream view off and go back a minute. You can go in here if you want and change the colours of your lights through the app. Again, there's all the scenes and there's the DIY, exact same stuff that we've seen on the mobile app, but maybe just not. I don't know, in fact it actually does look like it kind of covers everything. I thought I might have had less than what was in the mobile app, but they're all there. But again, it's up to you if you ever want to use these for when you're not using the dream view function. But to use the dream view function, it's a case of clicking this button. Just before you do that though, again, double check that the Wi-Fi is connected, which you'll see here by the little green indicator. And then beside that, you want this LAN available thing to be blue, and that was part of the whole thing I mentioned earlier on about turning on the API button. If you don't turn that API on button, it'll be red like you're seeing here, and you won't be able to run the dream view function. So once everything's all good to go, you can click on dream view. You can turn it on, but if you don't want to turn it on, well, in fact we'll turn it on. Let's get it on. There's an area settings button here, and what that does is just ensures that all the colours that you're seeing on the screen here are actually shown on the lights at the back of the monitor. So it's just a kind of double check to make sure that they're all lighting up as they should do, which in my case they are. If for any reason any of them are slightly different, you can go in and you can actually change these to suit the lights that are on the back of the monitor, but you shouldn't have to do anything. I think from default everything should be okay. If you want to see how the dream view looks, you can hit a little preview button and it runs a video for you, but I've got a little demo myself I'm going to show you in a minute. So just confirm that. You can rename it whatever you want to do for the actual dream view scene, if you want to call it that. You can change it from Govee 1 to PC lights or whatever. I think that's it's covered. Usual, there's brightness when you're running the dream view, saturation, sensitivity, device settings. You may have multiple products that can use the dream view setting. Might not just have the lights in the back of the monitor. I think you sometimes get these lights that stand to the side of the monitor as well, so they may be in here as well. You can also tick them on as well, so they all reflect what's on the screen. And that is pretty much the desktop app. And now I'm going to give you about a wee 1 minute demo of how the dream view looks at night. Enjoy. They look pretty good at night time. I must admit I'm kind of chuffed with how these actually look. I bought these to replace the Corsair LS100 lights that I had on the back of the monitor. I've actually had 2 kits of them, and they've all ran into problems at one stage with some of the LEDs basically packing in on them. There was a kind of weird colour mismatch where one was like bright white at one end, and then it kind of went down a kind of creamy colour at the other end. It was a bit strange. And then the whole mounting of them, the little pad things that held them on, had a tendency to heat up with the monitor and then just fall off. And then of course it was using system resource, having Corsair IQ, and also using up an additional USB port on your PC as well. You needed that for the little control box with the Corsair lights. So I just decided I'll give something else a little go, and I went with these. And I'm going to be honest, they're really, really good. I love the brightness of them. They're definitely brighter than the Corsair lights, and they're dirt cheap. In fact, at the moment, I'll switch back over to the website for you. For the 27-inch to the 34-inch in the UK, they're currently £24.99. Or if you go for a smaller one, the 24 to 26-inch, you can get them for £19.99. Those are in stock just now, but it's actually really hard to get the larger ones from the Govee website. I ended up actually buying them from Amazon. I think they were about 80 quid in Amazon. Aye, it would be right. It shows you up to 80 quid up the top corner, and there was some kind of mad sale on, and I actually got them for 30 quid. So it's worth keeping an eye on Amazon for them as well. On to some of the problems, and there's a big major one which I'll leave to last. But the first thing is, when I was running the video there, sometimes there's a tiny little bit of lag. You can see the lights just kind of split second struggling to catch up with what's on the screen. It's nothing major. It doesn't happen all the time, but I have noticed it, and that was something that the Corsair lights didn't have. But for the price difference, it's unreal. I mean, like I said, these things cost me 30 quid, and I think the Corsair lights were well over £100 plus, you know. So big difference there price wise. And then on to the major issue that I had. Now, when I installed these, they were all working fine. Tested them, checked them, they were all working great. Following day I came in, and for some reason the lights in the back of the monitor were on and they were turned red, and I was like 99% positive I didn't have any timer set up, didn't have any auto run or anything set up. Checked the app, and sure enough, never had anything set up. So I went through a whole long process of trying to figure out what this was. This basically happened every single day. The lights were coming on at some stage when I wasn't about. And then also when you were going into the Dream View function, and I'll show you on the screen here exactly what was happening, there was a horrible, very fast strobe light effect. And you can quite clearly see that it's kicking in red. As I mentioned as well, when the lights were turning on, they were turning on red. So I had it in my head that something was definitely interfering with this. Uninstalled the Govee app on my phone, uninstalled the Govee app on my desktop, reinstalled everything, still the same thing. Started thinking something else must be picking these lights up and trying to control them. Went through all my Google Home. I've got quite a lot of kind of smart things in here. Didn't appear anything on Google Home, didn't have any timers or anything set up. But just to make sure, I actually unlinked the Govee stuff from the Google Home app, because I used to use that for controlling the TV lights, but anyway, I thought might as well get rid of that. Then I started asking my kids if any of you get anything set up, like Alexa. I'd read up that apparently Alexa has got this thing where it kind of recognises your lights, adds them and starts changing them, but we don't use Alexa at all. I installed the Alexa app anyway just in case, and sure enough, no devices were on it, nothing. Just could not figure it out. I mean, this went on for a week. Got in touch with Govee and went through it with them. They didn't have any clues and were kind enough to send me a whole new kit, which is really good of them. Must admit, Govee's customer service was absolutely spot on. Got the new lights, tested them again. They were perfectly fine. So at that point I thought I must have just had a dodgy kit, and away I went. Following day, came back from work and the lights are back on again. I was like, oh, pulling out what's left of my baldy hair. Started having a look about again, a few days, trying all sorts of different things, trying different power sockets, trying moving a little control switch which was mounted under my desk away from the power sockets in case there was some sort of interference. Tried loads and loads of things, just couldn't get it. And then yesterday I came in from work, came up the stairs, and the first thing I noticed, the lights weren't on. The lights hadn't automatically came on, so I was like, oh, that's good. Turn the PC on, try the Dream View, and sure enough the Dream View works. Delighted, great, it's all working good. And then I think it was about an hour later, back up the stairs again, the lights back on red. Tested the Dream View and it's doing the horrible strobing thing again. I thought I'd solved it. Well, I didn't even solve it. I thought somehow miraculously it fixed itself. And I started thinking, what has changed in the last hour? Something's changed to get these lights doing this again. And I just remembered that my son had come in from college. My son sits downstairs. He's got his own Govee products. Went down and asked him, can you log into Govee and check that you haven't picked these lights up? He didn't even have Govee loaded up. He was just using a little switch on the wall for controlling his Govee lights. And then I was looking at his PC, which happens to be all red LEDs. He's got a big, cracking big PC case and Phanteks D30 fans, but everything is all red. And I just remembered that we installed Signal RGB in his PC to control his lights. So I asked him, can you please go into Signal RGB and have a look? We go in, click on devices, and sure enough, there's my lights attached to his Signal RGB account. I find that crazy that software can do that without asking permission. Didn't have my Govee login or anything like that. No pop-up at any stage came up on his screen asking, do you want to add these lights? It just automatically added it, and basically every time he was turning his PC on, everything would turn red, and it would turn the lights on at the back of my screen and turn them red. And because there's basically an instruction there for turning everything red, it was fighting against what I had set up in my PC and my app, and that's why I was getting that really, really horrible strobing effect. I don't know how I never clocked onto it sooner. It was happening at the same time every day, and it was roughly about the same time he gets out of his bed, and that's the first thing he does is turns his PC on. So I was kind of kicking myself that I didn't think it was him, but at the same time I was also delighted because I was just about to pull the things back off the bloody back of the monitor and just be done with it. But aye, over the moon. My little £30 lights that I managed to get from Amazon are working an absolute treat, and I thoroughly look forward to using them over the next few months. But that's it. I thought I would share my problems because I've seen a lot of people on Reddit having kind of similar issues. There's always something interfering with your setup, whether it's some other app or something like that. It seems to be a kind of common thing that something else is interfering with it, and it's worth a look. And you never know, maybe somebody else in your house has got Signal RGB and it's trying to take over everything you've got set up in your PC or your Govee products. But anyway, that's it. I hope you like this. If you can, please leave a like and subscribe, and as always guys, hopefully I'll be back with something soon for you. See you later.